Ah, Jesus. Jesus got the tape. He got the tapes for me. Jesus got the tape. He got the tapes for me. Starting with the high string first, because when you lower the C, everything else gets tense. Not so much on ooks, but definitely on steel strings. Okay. And since on an ook all the strings are pretty much the same, except for the C and the E here, it looks like the A and the G are the same. Generally, they're all three the same, but that works. We're just gonna remove the second. And they really left all the string on here, which is, I guess, cool. And they did a double loop. And since there is so much string on here, I'm just gonna go ahead and pull it through and then cut, because it's much easier for me to do it this way. The O string. Oh, there it popped. Never mind. There we go. Don't need to cut it. Oh, Jesus. Or Jeebus. Sorry. Mr. Jeebs. Okay. So I'm going to take that tape. I'm going to put it down. I'm also doing the same thing with the E string. Really should have a rag down, but then again, this isn't a kid's ukulele, but I think they've kept it in wonderful shape. Said that they don't play it; they got it as a gift, I believe. So, very excited to be able to do this for them. The reason why I'm unwinding it here is it does something for the strings. I don't like to just pull them off. This one has the lock as well. Since the other one worked, I'm just going to try and push it through, which worked. Wunderful. When I pull these off, as you can see, these two are flipped out. There's a single knot here. So since this is super simple, I'm just going to flip them while I'm here. So I know that them's is flips. Hold this one up. Yeah. Pull that one back down at the bottom. Looks like they did a single tie knot. I think it should suffice just for this. The bridge doesn't seem to care. The saddle isn't made to be one way only. It's got the same diameter slots here. However, this here is a little off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little nut and bone and super glue, and I'm going to build that up. Reason why I have that tape is to move this around and tape these to the side so I don't do any damage to that fretboard. Thanks, James. Gonna take my tape out, gonna put it down, make sure it's close to the nut all around, and then I'm gonna take the side pieces there, pull the strings up, yeah, and then I'm gonna just tape them to the side, get them out of the way. Ta-da. And then since the other one's toy over there, I'm just gonna do the same thing. What that does is it sets up a little barrier so I don't get anything on the fretboard. I'm also gonna wanna grab a piece of tape, do that on the other side. However, sometimes I just slip a card in. Let's see if I've got a musical card. Boom, 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 boom. 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 Learn something new. Wire splicers, splicers. Splicers? I miss you, Eric. Very much so. That works as well because it has a straight edge. Means nothing's gonna get down on there. So, what I'm gonna do is just gonna flip the bag over, use it as my brace here. I'm gonna take this guy. Actually, I could use another card though. Gonna need a card. Let's see if I already have a bone in here. I've already ground down. Yes, I do. So I don't have to use any new bones. Those of you at home, if you're wondering what all this nonsense is, I have a traveler's kit that helps me do a whole bunch of stuff. I have extra tuners, extra slides, extra electronics that I could dig into if I ever need to do a quick fix on a pedal. I've got different apparatuses like a little mirror for when I grind up the bone to be able to put it on there and put it into a defined space, you know, like that. A card works as well. I have a whole bunch of stuff, but the number one thing that I really need in my kit right now is a bone sandpaper and the super glue. So I'm just gonna move these to the side. And my first student canceled, which means I have a little time, and I want to get online and do some of the mandolin chords for everyone. So I find the bone saddle that I've used before. It appears that I am crazy and none of these have been used. So I'm going to revert back to the other bag. Those are all my things. Oh, here's a new bone. I'm just going to pull out a bone. I think I've got OCD today. So I'm going to put these all back, being nice and careful. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I am going to grab a card and make a little bone. Make a little bone. Make a little bone for me. I do it on the white side because I like to be able to see it all. Make yourself a little crease in your CAD. And down here. What I like to do is just put it over the top of here and then use the side. Makes sense to me. Get a clean side. When you do this, what you're doing is you're taking the little fibers off the top of this and you're converting it over down here. If you find that your I'm sorry, my brain like that. If you find that your pad's not doing what you want it to, you can actually take out the metal shaving pad down here, which is great. But I use these a lot for the frets to save down. So I'm going to keep with this. Maybe turn it on its side. There we go. Yep. Gonna get my first round out of the way. And definitely leave my second round there. As you see, got a little bit of the scrub in there. That's fine. You're not gonna see it when the string's over it. It serves the same purpose. The reason why I do this is the bone, when it hits the super glue, it starts as a catalyst. There's an endothermic reaction, and thusly it builds it up. So what you're gonna wanna do is take your super glue, go to the string that was the C string, put a little bitty dab of glue on it, boom. Take your powder, tap, put it right above the crease where the glue is, and then tap your powder right on top of it. Tap all your powder, by the way. Never leave any powder. Once you got it like that, let it sit for a minute. What I like to do is just shake it like this so all the stuff starts to spread all over there. And then I take it up to here, as you can see. Take this guy and dust in the wind. What you can do is you see how it's just gotten it all the way up to the quick, which means it has filled that little hole there. And it's great. The other one I'm not so much going to do that much to. I'm going to take out actually, what I'm going to do is clean as I go. It's much easier to clean as you go than to go back and have to keep redoing things over and over. Glue is on there. I got my bony. I'm going to leave my bony out so I know which one's which this time. And then I've got my screwdriver out and then my Craftsman All tool. This is going to help me do a whole bunch of things. However, on this one, what I'm going to want to do is get the thinnest one. I think it's a 1 or a 2. If yours aren't marked, just look for the thinnest. Either way, all these will work. Some people like the rounded dowel. I do not. I like to use just the, good grief. Did I leave it on already? No, I guess I didn't. Oh, it's upside down. Makes sense. Left it upside down. I like to use the rounded dowel when I'm doing stuff like this, just so I could get right into there. Now this, I like to see if it's already set or not, if that endothermic reaction's happened just by pressing on it. And it seems as if it has. There's a little bit in there. What I want to do is just make sure that that is filled. So I'm going to take that bony, do the same thing, get more of that bone substrate right on your card, shave it down, get a whole bunch of it. Doesn't matter if there's a little schmutz in there. All right, we're going to take it right over the top, do it again. Tip, tap, and rap, tap, 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 pip, 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 tap, 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 tap. And then we're gonna let it do its same thing. Let me get that extra. Let it sit on top of there. Bo, 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 do, do, do. Cool. Since that is now built up, I'm gonna take the instrument, hold it as level as I can, put the file down on, and see where the file just barely sits in there. I'm gonna look at where the E was and realize it's that big. And because the E was that big, that's how big that I want this hole to be now.
So I go over to here, and then I look at that, put my thumb down, pull this back here, give just a little twist and a little push through. And with that, what we've done with this file is we've rounded off any hard edges that might have been there from our filling of the hole. We have taken them off the side, and what I like to do is go at a little angle that way and push down over the top of the nut. Feel my finger over the top of there. If there's anything, remove it again. You can also use the tippy top of this to actually get right in. Yeah. And the idea is to push down, fill the whole distance between the E, come over here and make sure it's the same. If it is not, just give it a little twist on the sides and a little push through. You don't want to make it too terribly big because you don't want it to go back to the C. And then once you feel like you have a sufficient amount of space for that string to lay down in there, go over to the E. I'm gonna lay it down here. Maybe I could, no, I can't. And then go back over the E here. And what I like to do is give it a one good twist, push right through, and then give a little twisteroo and one good file. 1, 2. There we go. That has opened up the E just a little bit, and then your C is gonna be able to sit in there properly and jump down. Now, I'm gonna give it a little minute just to make sure that this is not still liquidy. I don't think it is. Doesn't feel like it. Just gonna give it another quick minute while I do some tune-ups, and I'll be right there. When I do this, push my finger on the tuner and turn this till it's just tight. They don't need to be over tight, or actually will make it harder to tune. It's a 2-part gear, so you just want to make sure not over tightening. Ooh. All those seem to be pretty good, and since I got this little screwdriver out, I'm going to make sure that all of these little screws that are on the back of the wood are just right in there. If they are not, don't over tighten them. Take the whole tuning mechanism off, fill it with the same process with the bone and a little bit of the super glue. It'll have a endothermic reaction. It will turn into a hard surface again, and then your screw will be able to just drive right down into that substrate and make a nice connection rather than trying to fill it with wood glue or have all those other things. You got this in your pack, why not use it? These type of tuners have the littles on the side, which means I need to use 2 hands. I hold both of those and then turn again to the right. You don't want to over tighten anything because it's gonna make it a little harder for you to tune your tuning pegs. However, making sure all of your screws, ooh, that one's super loose. Making sure that all of your stuff is all nice and tight when you're doing a tune-up is the reason why you do these. It's why you pay somebody. And if you don't know how to do this, pay somebody and learn from them. Ask them if you can watch. Since I have the instrument here, I'm just gonna go ahead and take this, clean it on up. There's a reason why they have all this gear here. It's not all just nonsense. Certain people use it different ways and for certain things. What you'll see on here is there's a complete difference between the 1 fret that I just did and the rest of them. Why? It's supposed to have this mechanism. There's a cleaning agent on this that I put. It's going to be cleaning this off. You could buy it at a store. I used to buy Martin, and then I realized you can make your own, and it does just the same. And remember, when you did I didn't do it this time, but usually I clean the first fret before I put the tape on. It sticks better in case you have a really old guitar or ukulele or something. When I have this, the idea is when you use the tip of the top of this, eventually just keep going through here and cut it off. As soon as it gets way too dirty, cut off that section again. You can clean it in your solvent and do that, but that breaks down the fibers. These should only last for like 100 cleans, something like that. Cool. Wow, this looks really good. I'm gonna hold that side in there, go back up and down here. Because I got it out, I'm gonna hit the saddle, make it look nice and clean as well. And then I'm gonna go once over the nut, does a little clean. I don't like to use this all over the body because any oil that goes onto the solid wood is a little different. However, I do have a wipe rag that I'll wipe it down with. And if not, use your shirt. It does not matter. And you can also use the end of any of your tools, like the sharp ends, to take off little pieces of dust that might have accrued over the period of time. All right, folks, I'm gonna take this, take off my buddy tape. Thanks, bit of game. All right, don't mention it.
singing. And if you need the other side to make it harder and abrasive, you can do that. I don't really use that side. It's a little bit too hard. I'm going to use that another type of abrasive. I'll just use a rag that has a little bit of, I guess, bumps in it. Linen rag bumps. Okay, there we go. Flipped them over already. Don't make the mistake of doing it twice. I like to do this one. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back and do it the exact same way I had it. So loop, true to the end with the one, take it back and put it right back true that hoop and let it do a little whoop like that, right? Little whoop, and just leave it there and the end will find itself. Take you to and then you're gonna wanna go, let's see here, counterclockwise, because what it's gonna do is it's gonna wrap that string. I put tension on it, put it right into its nut groove and hold my thumb there. My thumb. And then I move it true like this. What happens is it'll twist it around from where it is, but it will cinch what you've already done. The only thing you want to make sure that you do is that this little piece that's wrapping all the way around goes underneath. When it does that, it's going to wrap in on itself. Now there is way too much line for this one, but that's okay. Some people like their instruments a certain way. I like to cut it off at the quick and then run it around so there's no slack. When you get close to it being tight, you'll feel it because your finger will not need to hold the string down. And then that's when I suggest putting it over the top of that fret. The reason why we do this, if you don't do this, you sometimes get a little fret buzzing, meaning there just becomes a little space where it's able to buzz onto itself rather than having any issue just buzzing alone. The reason why we have the string over the top of the nut and the saddle is because the points between the two are a finite distance, meaning they make basically the harmonics on our instrument. Here we go. We're gonna take this again, put it through the loop unto which it came from, puts it in, pull our hand down to hold that. There it is. I'm gonna put my finger down here on the nut and then grab my twist. Now you can't do this by hand, but I found that these are a very helpful tool. Make sure that that one piece goes over. So what I do at this point is push that all the way down. And when you know what I mean, that string piece wants to go over the string. Yes. All right. All right, feels a little tight, getting to the point. We're gonna move that C string over on there. At this point, I'm just gonna move all the other strings onto the fretboard. And boom, 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 boom. Put on the piano one. And now, I check the spacings. You don't necessarily have to do this. I just want to make sure that it's going to be the same height. So we're not getting any buzzing. You put the scale all the way up against the end of the nut, and the distance that is between the 1st fret down should be the same distance that is between the 5th fret down when you press it at the 12th fret. Boom, looking great. So, boom, 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 boom. this is a tuned-up playable instrument again. And then what I like to do is just take my rag, and I do believe my rag is in my saxophone bag, so I'm just going to use a little paper towel. Get a little blot up on any of these extra pieces of oil. And once it's already kind of done, you want to get that excess off there. It's going to seep into there and make sure that fretboard stays nice and smooth for you. As you can see, there's just a little bit of squeech on here, so I'm going to get each one individually. Squeeze. There we go. There it is. And this is for one of my students, so she shall be very, very happy. What I try and do is send business to the stores that I work for or I rent from, and then if they are just overloaded, I try and do the work on my own. And then I put one of my business cards in here in case the instrument gets lost, at least they have a contact point. And that is what it looks like. And then absolutely after I get done, what I do is I clean up. Make sure everything is in its own space. Everything is in its own dominion. Waiting in the shadows as we do. Wow. This isn't really fast enough for me. Isn't really fast enough for you. Thanks, Jeeves. Isn't really fast enough for you. I'm gonna leave that out because I'm gonna do a little quick thing change later today. It's what I was afraid of. I stumbled into view, but it isn't nearly fast enough for you. Thanks for being here. Aloha.